Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to video 2. We're going to pick up where we left off, but first we're going to look at front wheel position and ensure that the front wheels are centered in the front wheel arches. Let's get started. So when we mount the lower suspension, we don't want the wheel to be in a different position. Meaning we don't want the wheel to move back or forward. We want it to be in the same spot. And the way we're going to achieve this is with the adjustability of these arms, as well as adjusting caster on the knuckles. So our next challenge, when we start to add more angle, is we see how close the tire is getting to the chassis. So we're going to have to extend the length of the arms to get the wheel further away. And by having the ability to adjust the length of this arm will get us there. Now let's talk a little bit more about steering. I am using a higher torque servo and the servo arm that came with it. And since we're increasing the length of the lower suspension arms, we're also going to have to increase the length of the steering rods as well. In order to fit the servo arm and not hit the chassis, I did have to cut this plastic back. Since I changed the servo arm, that changed the distance of the steering rods. So that caused me to have to end up cutting out the chassis here as well as here, so that when you have the suspension travel, you don't end up with the arm or the rod hitting the chassis. So finally, we're going to install the lower subframe. So in the previous video, I said I would be using this as my front mounting point, and this is my rear. Now, to get this to sit properly, I did have to cut out an aluminum plate to mount the subframe too. With all the chassis strengthening that I pointed out in the previous video, the lower subframe should continue that all the way to the front. We've talked a lot about the lower suspension arms, but what about the upper suspension arms? Let's dive into that now. So I had to find some more extra pieces. And I ended up using a Yokomo DIB upper arm, as well as an active mount for that arm. There's not a lot of space here to work with. So this is the point at which I ended up mounting it. But that caused a number of other problems because I've already started cutting plastic out of here. So I ended up having to cut out all the plastic here and here in order to mount those upper arms. But that weakened these areas. So what I did is I went back and I added a couple pieces of carbon fiber to actually mount the arms too, and then they're pressed up against the chassis. So if you're wondering, this piece right here is just a steering stop for the knuckle to ensure it only travels so far. I hope you guys are enjoying these videos. I'm enjoying making them. But that's all we have time for today. So, thanks for watching. Until next time.